All right, so we are graphing lines, parabolas, and exponentials. So there are three big graphs, functions that we need to be able to graph and feel comfortable with in Math 1 and Math 2. And those are the three: lines, parabolas, and exponentials. So this is a line because the exponent on x is 1, and I need to recognize what the slope is. I need to recognize the y-intercept, and then put that on a graph and graph it. Here, I was just looking for a ruler. So we're going to start at the y-intercept. So this is where we start. And then we apply the slope. And remember, slope is rise over run. So from this point, that means I go up 3 and over to the right 2. Put a second point down. I got my little ruler. And it's done. Let's try it again. So number 2, I want to graph this. So the slope is -1 over 2, and the y-intercept is -4. I circle it because that's where I'm going to start. Notice the negative can either be on the top or bottom, but not both. So the y-intercept is -4, and then the direction I'm going to go is down 1 and to the right 2, and then draw my line. Number 3, we have the slope, the y-intercept, and we graph. So the y-intercept's at 3, and then I go down 4 and to the right 3, and then draw my line. Number 4, the y-intercept and the slope. So the slope is 2 over 5, and the y-intercept's 1. We start at the y-intercept, and then I go up 2 over 5. Put down the second point, draw a line using those 2 points, and we're good. The slope is -1 over 4. The y-intercept's 2. I want to graph this, so I start at 2, and I go down 1 and to the right 4, and draw my line. Again, the slope. Now, if I don't have a fraction, the number on the bottom you don't see is 1, and the y-intercept is -1. And then we go down 2 and to the right 1, and draw a line. All right, next page. This page, we are now graphing parabolas. So what's different about this equation is what exponent do you see is 2. So the exponent 2 means it's going to be a parabola. And the big thing we need to find is the vertex. So the vertex is going to go from inside the parentheses, and it's the opposite sign. And then the last number, and it's the sign that it says. So +4, -4. That's what I'm looking for. So I start in the middle, go 4 and -4. And then the last thing I look for is what A equals. A gives me the average rate of change to my next point. So in other words, it acts kind of like slope. So think of this as -2 over 1. So from here we go down 2 to the right 1, down 2 to the left 1, and draw your parabola using those. We can also draw the axis of symmetry in the middle, and that splits the parabola in half. All right, our vertex is at -3, -2, and our A, our number in front, is -1 over 1. So I go down 1 and to the right, and down 1 and to the left, and then draw my parabola from there. You can draw the axis of symmetry if you like through there as well. Here, +4, -3. I don't see a number in front, so that number is +1. So that means I go up 1 and to the right, up 1 and to the left, and then draw my parabola. All right, vertex, +1, +2. A, I don't see a number in front multiplying, so it's 1. So that means I go up 1 and to the right, up 1 and to the left, and then draw my parabola. Number 11. Where's the vertex? At positive 3, positive 1, and A is 3. So I go 3, 1, and then from there I go up 3, over 1, and up 3 to the left 1. Again, you can draw the axis of symmetry through the vertex, and then the graph. Number 12. Vertex and A, and then we're going to plot. And then we're going to go down 2 and to the right 1. And down 2 and to the left 1. And then draw it. And you have it. So there's graphing a parabola. All right, last page is graphing a exponential. So for that, I need to identify the basic exponential, the base to the exponent x, 2 points, which are 0, 1, 1, 2, and the asymptote, which is at y equals 0. I'm going to change these by recognizing the number in front I'm multiplying by is 4. That's A. H is positive 2. And K is positive 1. It's going to the right, it's going up, and it's being stretched. Now, H is the only one that affects the x coordinate. So I'm going to add 2 to the x's. So 0 plus 2 and 1 plus 2. The y coordinate, I have to do 2 things, and you can do it with me. I need to multiply. See that multiplying? So I got to multiply by 4, and I have to add 1 after that. So I'm going to go 1 times 4, that's 4, plus 1 more. And that point is on my graph. So 2 and 5 I find on my graph. I'm going to do it again. 2 times 4 plus 1. So 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 more is 9. Find 3 and 9 on your graph. And then the asymptote. When you multiply times 0, it stays 0. So if I add 1, whatever the k value is going to be where my asymptote is. I'm only going to graph this. I'm not going to graph both of them on the graph. So at y equals 1, I'm going to do an asymptote. And then I'm going to graph from there. So I'm going to curve it. And you notice one end goes up and the other end's going to follow the asymptote. Number 14. All right, so I start with the basic exponential, the base to the exponent x. And for this, 2 points are 0, 1, and 1, 3, and the asymptote at y equals 0. Then I'm going to recognize that a is times 2, h is also positive 2, and k, which goes with a, is negative 1. This affects the y, and this affects the x. That's what changes the x. This is what changes the y. So add 2 to the x coordinate. So 0 plus 2, go 1 plus 2. And then the y, I'm going to multiply and then subtract. So 1 times 2 is 2, take away 1. 3 times 2 is 6, take away 1 is 5. And then again, whatever the k number is going to be my asymptote. So at negative 1, and then the points, which are at 2, 1, and 3, 5, and then I'm going to graph it. All right, 2 more. So the basic exponential is 1/2 to the x. Again, it's 0, 1. Now we're going to use negative 1, and then the reciprocal of the base, which is 2, and y equals 0. And then we're going to understand that a equals 4, that h is negative 2, and k is also negative 2. And know that this affects the x and this affects the y. So to the x, I'm going to subtract 2. So negative 1 subtract 2 is negative 3. To the y, I'm going to multiply and then subtract. So 1 times 4, that's 4. Take away 2. And then 2 times 4, that's 8. Take away 2, that's 6. And then whatever the k number is where my asymptote goes. So k gives me my asymptote. And now I'm going to graph this. Oh, I almost graphed on the wrong one. So negative 2. And then negative 2, 2. And negative 3, 6. And recognize it's shifted to the left and down with this. But there's your graph. All right, last one here. Recognize the basic exponential. What are 2 points on that? 0, 1. And it's a fraction, so it's negative 1, and then you do the reciprocal. And then y equals 0 is the asymptote. I'm going to change these. A is equal to 2, h is negative 1, and then k is positive 1. So the x gets changed with the h, and the y gets changed with the a and k. So 0 take away 1, negative 1 take away 1, and then the y coordinate. We're going to multiply and then add. So 1 times 2, and then add 1 more. 3 times 2, and then add 1 more. And then whatever the k value is where my asymptote is. All right, I'm going to put this on the graph. Start with 1. And then I graph it. That's it. So, lines, parabolas, and exponentials. Oh my. Mr. G Math, over and out.